Dr. Ezra Wells had seen death in every form: quiet and violent, expected and cruelly premature. For 25 years, as the city's senior coroner, he had trained his hands to be steady and his heart to remain distant. Compassion has no place on the slab, he'd once told a young intern. We honor the dead by knowing the truth, not by grieving them. It was late October when she arrived, an unidentified young woman, no more than 22, found lifeless in a Brooklyn alley. There were no obvious signs of trauma, no wallet, no ID. Just her clothes, soaked in rain, and a strange stillness about her face that made her look like she was sleeping off a dream. Ezra studied her carefully as the nurse recorded notes. There was something extraordinary in her presence, not in a romantic or eerie sense, but in the way light seemed to settle softly on her even in that cold, sterile room. Her expression was serene, gentle, as if she'd known something no one else did. "Let's begin," Ezra said. He made the first incision, routine, precise, by the book. And then he froze. He couldn't explain it. His hand stopped, scalpel hovering above the first cut, heart hammering as though someone was screaming through the silence. Ezra stared at her face again, and for the first time in decades, he felt watched. Not by her, but by something bigger, deeper. A presence that had the weight of 1,000 unanswered questions. "Dr. Wells?" the nurse asked. Ezra backed away slowly. "No," he said. "Not yet." He did something he never did. He left the room. That night, sleep abandoned him. He found himself digging through the evidence collected from her. Only scraps, a button, a soaked journal. The pages inside were barely legible, but one entry stood out, preserved by sheer fate. "If someone ever finds this, I hope they'll know I tried to live with kindness, even when it cost me, even when no one noticed. Kindness is the only legacy we can choose. If I die unknown, let me be remembered as someone who tried to help others feel seen." Ezra stared at those words for hours. The next morning, he returned to the morgue with trembling hands and a burdened heart. The autopsy had to be performed, but not with detachment. Not anymore. He whispered an apology as he continued the examination, now reading every bruise, scar, and internal trace with the eyes of someone seeing not just a body, but a story. What he found unraveled everything. She hadn't died from violence or drugs. It was an undiagnosed congenital heart condition, something rare, silent, and terminal if untreated. But here's what changed Ezra forever. Embedded in her chest cavity, near her ribs, he found old scar tissue. Evidence of a past surgery, though not for herself. He dug deeper, into hospital records, donation registries, even obscure online forums. 2 years ago, a critically ill 6-year-old girl had received an anonymous partial liver donation from a stranger who'd registered under an alias. It saved the child's life. A few photos circulated in a support group. The donor had been that same young woman. Ezra's breath caught. She had saved someone. Quietly. Without recognition. She lived simply, alone, and had given a piece of herself to preserve another life, possibly knowing the strain could worsen her own condition. And she'd never asked for anything in return. Ezra couldn't let her disappear. He reached out to local shelters, youth outreach programs, women's shelters. Slowly, a sketch of her life emerged. Her name was Eliana Hart. She'd grown up in the foster system, aged out without a family, and had spent the past few years volunteering at soup kitchens, tutoring homeless kids in libraries, and anonymously paying for others' bus fares. People remembered her, not by name, but by warmth. "The girl with the quiet smile," one man said. She always listened. Ezra arranged a funeral. Paid for it himself. He invited every life she had quietly touched. Many came. Some didn't know her full name until that day. A child she had helped learn to read placed a handmade bracelet in her casket. The little girl she'd saved with her liver donation came, too, now healthy and thriving. During the eulogy, Ezra stood before them and admitted the truth. "I was supposed to cut her open and walk away. But instead, she opened me. She reminded me that the measure of a life isn't in headlines or degrees, but in love left behind, in kindness given freely. I never knew her in life, but I will carry her legacy for the rest of mine." The story of Eliana Hart spread. Her journal excerpt went viral. Donations poured into the foster program she had once been a part of. A scholarship was created in her name for kids who aged out of the system, offering them the support she never had. And Ezra? He retired the next year, choosing instead to teach compassion and forensic medicine. His final lecture always ended the same way. "There was once a girl I admired deeply. I met her after she died, but she taught me how to live. She showed me that even the smallest acts of kindness ripple through time like stars scattered across a night sky. And if you're lucky enough to feel that impact, don't ignore it. Let it change you.